Sheep follow rules. Wolves make them. Machiavelli knew, if you want power, you can't live like prey. You obey. You wait your turn. You play nice. And what do you get? Used, ignored, forgotten. But what if the only way to survive was to think like a wolf, to hunt like a wolf, to strike like one? This world doesn't reward the harmless. It rewards the hungry. Niccolò Machiavelli didn't believe in fairy tales. He believed in power. And he warned, if you try to be good in a world full of predators, you'll be eaten. A ruler, he said, must learn how not to be good. Because most people aren't saints. They're hunters, opportunists, wolves. And the wolf? It's not cruel, it's necessary, cunning, ruthless, respected, feared. It survives where others fall. By the end of this video, you'll know 7 ruthless ways to become the wolf, to command respect, spread fear, and dominate the game of power. If you're building quiet strength and mental clarity in a chaotic world, subscribe now. This channel is your shield. Let's begin. Here's what most people get wrong about wolves. They think being a wolf means going solo, lone wolf, no help, just grind. But that's a lie. Wolves are powerful because they move in packs. But there's always a leader, always one that the rest follow. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. A ruler must build alliances, but he must stay the one in control. Friendships, connections, sure, but loyalty should always flow upward, never sideways. Let's say you're building something, a business, a movement, even your name. You need people, but those people should never forget who started it, who leads it, who owns it. Because the moment your pack forgets that, they'll turn from allies to rivals, from partners to predators. The ruthless insight: build your pack, but stay its master. Be the mind that directs the muscle, the voice they wait to hear, the one they fear disappointing. Wolves can only hunt when they're aligned, but only one makes the kill first. Make sure that one is you. The wolf stalks before it strikes. The wolf doesn't rush. It doesn't bark. It doesn't announce its attack. It waits, watches, reads every move. The rustle of grass, the twitch of a muscle, the slightest weakness. It knows exactly when to strike and when to disappear into the shadows. That's the art most people miss, because we're taught to always be loud, always be visible, always be doing something. But Machiavelli? He'd laugh at that. He wrote, "A prince must be a fox to recognize traps, not just strong, but cunning. And cunning doesn't rush, it doesn't react, it studies until the perfect moment reveals itself." The ruthless truth? Every enemy shows their weakness if you watch long enough. They overtalk, they underestimate, they expose their fears, their flaws, their fake smiles, but only if you're silent enough to notice. Most people walk into traps because they're too impatient to observe. They strike before they understand, they fight before they're ready, and they lose badly. But not the wolf. The wolf waits, the wolf prepares. The wolf chooses the moment that ends the fight before it begins. So ask yourself, are you rushing into noise, or are you watching, calculating, becoming unstoppable in silence? Because the most dangerous man in the room isn't the one who speaks first. It's the one who says nothing until it's already too late. The wolf kills, quickly, without hesitation. The wolf doesn't debate, it doesn't send warnings, it doesn't wait for permission. When it moves, it finishes. Fast, clean, final. Machiavelli understood this better than most. He said, injuries must be inflicted all at once. Why? Because hesitation is blood in the water. It shows the world you're unsure, that you second-guess yourself, that you can be challenged. And in a world full of predators, that's enough to get you eaten. Look around you. How many people lost power because they waited too long, waited to fire the traitor, waited to leave the sinking ship, waited to strike when they had the upper hand, and by the time they moved, it was already too late. Wolves don't have that luxury. Their survival depends on swift decisions. No back and forth, no moral tug of war, just instinct, action, dominance. And Machiavelli agreed. He believed that cruelty, when necessary, should be executed in one single blow, because people recover from fear, but they never recover from shock. So if you're holding back, waiting for the right moment to confront, to decide, to move, know this: every second of hesitation is a signal, and that signal says, I'm not sure, I'm not ready, I can be tested. And once they sense it, they will test you. But if you strike first, with clarity, finality, and power, you won't need to strike twice. So next time you're faced with a decision, ask yourself, do you want to be feared or second-guessed? Because power doesn't wait, and neither should you. Act, finish, and let the silence speak for you. The wolf rules by fear, not love. A wolf doesn't wag its tail for approval. It doesn't beg for affection. It walks into a space and owns it. Why? Because in the wild, love doesn't protect you. Fear does. Machiavelli said it plainly. It is much safer to be feared than loved, because love is soft, conditional. It fades the moment it's tested. But fear is respect in armor. When you rule through love, people get close, they get comfortable, they stop respecting boundaries and start believing they can get away with more. But when you rule through fear, your presence alone sets the tone. You don't need to repeat yourself. You don't need to justify. Your silence becomes a warning. Think about the people you feared in life. A boss, a mentor, maybe even a parent. They didn't have to shout. They didn't have to punish. They just had to look at you, and you straightened up. That's power, not because they hurt you, but because they could, and chose not to. See, fear done right isn't abuse, it's control. It's the line between order and chaos, because here's the hidden truth. People don't fear cruelty, they fear unpredictability. They fear a leader who can't be read, can't be manipulated, can't be softened. So if you're trying to lead through kindness alone, if you think being liked is enough, ask yourself, would they follow you if they weren't allowed to love you? Would they still obey if there were no rewards? Because love invites comfort, but fear commands obedience. The wolf doesn't win hearts, it wins space, and it keeps it by showing it's not to be tested. So stop trying to be loved by all. That's a trap for prey. Be respected or be replaced. Better yet, be feared, and you'll never be touched. The wolf adapts to harsh terrain, snowstorms, droughts, wilderness without food for days. And yet, the wolf survives, not by strength alone, but by adaptation. That's what makes it dangerous. It doesn't demand comfort. It doesn't complain when the weather changes. It adjusts quietly and keeps moving. Machiavelli saw this too. He didn't believe in fortune as something to rely on. He saw it as a wild storm, unpredictable, cruel, constantly shifting. And those who survive it aren't the strongest, but the most flexible. See, rulers who demand routine, who panic when things go wrong, they fall because the world doesn't care about your plan. It bends for no one, so you must bend without breaking. That's the wolf's secret. When prey runs, it chases. When prey hides, it waits. When prey fights, it strikes from the blind side. It doesn't need the environment to be ideal. It becomes ideal for the environment. So ask yourself, When life punches you in the mouth, do you freeze? Or do you adjust? When the business fails? When the market crashes? When allies turn to enemies? Do you break down? Or do you grow sharper? Because in the game of power, he who adapts fastest rules longest. The enemy who's too rigid snaps first, but the one who bends, survives, regroups, strikes again. Machiavelli said fortune is like a river. It floods, it changes course. But the wise ruler builds channels, not walls. So be the wolf. Move through the forest, through the fire, through the frost. Not complaining, not hesitating, just hunting, no matter the terrain. The wolf hunts the weak first. A wolf doesn't waste time chasing the strongest deer in the herd. It watches, it waits, then it strikes the limping one, the slowest, the most distracted, the weakest. That's not cowardice, that's efficiency. Machiavelli understood this brutal logic. He didn't say destroy your enemies in their prime. He said, strike them before they even know they're in danger. When their guard is down, when they're isolated, when they're unsure, because that's when they're vulnerable. And in the world of power, you don't win by fairness, you win by being first and being final. Think about it. When a business competitor is expanding, funded, rising, it's too late. But when they're confused, when the market shifts against them, when their team starts doubting, that's your moment. Strike then, and they'll never recover. This isn't about cruelty. It's about timing. Only a fool attacks at full strength. The wise wait, targeting weaknesses like a wolf circling the herd. You want to dominate? Stop trying to win fair fights. Stop announcing your challenge. Start breaking weak links quietly. The distracted leader, the divided team, the scandal-ridden rival. That's your prey. And here's the twist most people miss. Even the mighty have weak moments, and a true wolf never misses those moments. So study your enemies. Don't fight their strength. Exploit their cracks, because one precise strike at the right time is worth more than 1,000 battles fought head-on. Be patient, be silent, be surgical, and when their weakness is exposed, don't hesitate. Finally, strike with everything and leave nothing behind. The wolf hides its hunger until the kill. A wolf doesn't howl before it hunts. It doesn't brag. It doesn't warn. It waits, silent, cold, watching. Because the moment the prey knows it's being hunted, the advantage is gone. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, but few know what you truly are." So he taught rulers to smile, to appear harmless, to mask their hunger for power with false modesty. Because if the world sees your ambition too early, they'll fear it, resist it, unite against it. But if you stay quiet, if you move like fog through the trees, by the time they see what you are, it's too late. Think of history's most cunning leaders. They didn't announce their rise. They crept upward while others slept. And then, when the crown was within reach, they struck. No warnings, no noise, just conquest. This is the art of concealed ambition. When you want something badly, don't show it. Want the throne? Speak like a servant. Want dominance? Act disinterested. Want to destroy them? Smile in their face. Because if they sense your hunger, they'll starve you. But if they think you're content, they'll feed your rise without knowing. This is what separates the predator from the prey. Prey announces, predators conceal. So control your face, control your tone, control your eyes. Let them see what you want them to see, and nothing more. Then, when they're asleep at the gate, when the crown is unwatched, unleash everything. Finally, devour what you've hunted in silence, and they'll never even know when the game began. Here's the truth no one teaches you in school. The world is not ruled by sheep who follow rules. It's ruled by wolves who bend them. You've been told to be kind, to wait your turn, to obey, to behave, to stay in line. And where has that gotten you? Tired, overlooked, controlled. Because the system loves prey. It breeds obedience. It rewards silence. But it's not prey who hold power. It's predators, the ones who don't ask permission, the ones who don't wait to be chosen, the ones who take what others are afraid to reach for. And here's the hidden insight. If you live like prey, you will be hunted, used, eaten, forgotten. But if you become the wolf, if you think like one, move like one, strike like one, you will never starve, not because the world is fair, but because you became dangerous enough to survive it. Imagine shedding the sheep's skin, no longer harmless, no longer prey. Imagine stepping into the mind of the wolf, calm, focused, lethal, not loud, but impossible to ignore, not cruel, but absolutely unforgiving. Imagine commanding respect without ever asking for it, moving in silence, and when the moment comes, striking with precision. That's the shift. That's the power. That's the wolf. The sheep wait for protection. The wolf takes what it wants. Machiavelli's way was never about kindness. It was about survival. You can follow the rules, or you can bend them. You can beg to be saved, or you can become the one they fear, become the wolf, or be eaten by one. Fade to black.